Hello, and a very warm welcome to Spurs fans everywhere. Welcome to Spurs Diehards TTID podcast 6, I think it's now. As we're we're newly inaugurated, but we're hoping to reach out to as many fans as can and bring you some interesting fact-based content. Tonight, I've got admin Ellie with me. Ellie, how are you?
I'm really well. I'm looking forward to the show, Adrian, and getting stuck into Gareth Southgate.
Okay, let's hope we can keep it interesting because there's not too much news on the transfer front, incomings or outgoings. Right, move on to Mod Mark. Mod Mark, how are you?
All is good. All is good, Adrian. All is good. How are you both?
I'm really fine, well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Apart from last night, that was very much a downer.
We'll discuss that in detail. And what I want to do, because what I intend to any listeners that are watching on playback, I know people are watching football, but for any, when I go to the Spurs games, I will be taking notes, of the lineups, notes through the first half and second half, so I can give a detailed account of what I see at the ground when we come back and do post-match shows. Right, I'm going to do the same now with the England game, although there wasn't too much to write home about, to be honest. So what I want to do and what I will be doing in future shows is, first of all, we'll go around members and guests, obviously, and ask them their opinions on their lineups and who they would have played anyway. And we're not being clever hindsight critics here because there's many of you out there that have already posted who you'd like to see play even before the game was played yesterday. So I'll go to Mark first. Mark, lineup, right? Did you like the lineup? Was it expected for you? And who did you want to play before the game?
No, can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, that's right. Because for some reason my camera's gone off.
Oh, is it? We can see you. We can see you.
We can see you, but you're frozen. Bit like Gareth Southgate.
Yeah. Right. Now, do you want me to leave and come back in again? See if that's
you can do, and I'll go to Ellie. Yeah. Ellie, so who would you have picked as your 11? I mean, I assume you'd have picked the majority of what Southgate picked, but maybe changed 4 or 5. I don't know. So, who would you have picked?
Yeah, let's have a go at manager, right? So I would have played Ollie Watkins up front, put Harry Kane in the number 10 role, just behind him, like a false 9. False 9 stroke a 10, like Wayne Rooney used to do, and then play Foden on the right because he likes it on the right, and then I'll play Saka just behind in the midfield, like coming like an attacking midfielder. I know he hasn't played that role before because he normally plays on the wing, but I think he'll do well at it because he's a very skillful player and he can drive the ball, right? And then I would have played Cole Palmer and Bellingham, right? I wouldn't have played any defensive midfielders. Go for it. Because we didn't need the win. We could get away with the draw, still qualify, but still, I think be more adventurous. And then in defence, I'd keep the same because they do maybe play Trent, instead of Trippier. He's more of a left-sided. He's played that role before, so I think Walker on the right and he's played excellent this tournament.
Yeah, he's been very good.
Sometimes he's been steady, not been spectacular, but he's been steady. Yeah, so that's what I would have done.
All right, Mark. So who would you have liked to have seen play, and what players would you have chosen over Southgate's selected 11?
Now, to be honest, the starting 11 was exactly what we expected. It's the same every game. And I'd have liked to have seen the team that finished the game start the game. Because they did a lot better. I can't remember who come on now, but the players that come on,
Maino and Palmer came on.
Maino, Palmer, Gordon. You look at what the first thing Gordon done. The first thing Gordon done. Right, he kicked out of play, but he put it past his man. And he had the beating of him. Right, the ball went out of play, but it gave the defender something to think about. The team is dreadful. The whole game was dreadful until the last 5 or 10 minutes. We sort of looked like we could do something. Gareth won't do that. He's too boring.
Yeah, I mean,
he's too safe. He's too safe.
Yeah, I think everyone likes this to think. He doesn't pick defensive sides, fun enough, but he's struggling to get a tune out of the player's performance. So it is a puzzle. I mean, I would have gone, you know, same back five, obviously, but in midfield, I would have liked to have seen Bellingham in the number 8 and the Gaza role as a ball carrying. Yeah. And then I would have played Kane in the 10 because that's where he's playing. And then to the left of Kane, I would have played Foden just because I want him in my team because he's that good. And on the right, I would have played Bowen because he's a bit more aggressive than Saka. You can always bring Saka on, can't you? You can always bring Gold wingers later. And that would have allowed me to play Ollie Watkins up front. But so that's it. But to be honest, as we're all Spurs fans, we see enough of our players in our squad so that when even Ange makes changes, we can most of the time we can see why he's making those changes in the squad. But the thing with England players, you see them playing for them clubs, but you don't see those players as many times as you do Spurs players. So I'll be honest. I mean, I find it difficult to pick an England team having not seen them players play. I mean, I might see them play, you know, I might see some only play twice a season when we play them home and away when I'm watching the games on telly. You know, I might not see them other times. So it is hard for me. I mean, others out there, I'm sure there's others out there are far, far better at probably picking an England 11 than I am, to be honest, right? Because they would have seen these players more, you know. Hence, like, I mean, I like the look of Mainu, you know. Palmer looks decent. I've only seen a little bit of him and only seen a little bit of Mainu, but they do catch the eye. Golden, only really seen a little bit of him, you know, but he's a winger that likes to take players on. So, so there are good. I mean, we've got good players. It's now a question of like, well, this is what Southgate, you know, it's his job, isn't it? He's not going to be sacked, so he's got to find a solution. And now that we're in the, well, we'll talk about the game and then we'll go on further, right? So Ellie, the first half,
first half,
Slovenia started brightly and in the first 4 minutes, they had a header on target, which is a bit of a weak effort. You know, 15 minutes. They had a dangerous cross across the box that could have cost us. Then on the 17th minute, we still weren't trying. We was trying to get a foot in a game, but Trippier gets a justified booking.
Yeah.
And then we sort of found our rhythm a little bit, as much as we could say we had any rhythm during that game. And on 20 minutes, we had the offside goal. You know, and we looked a bit better. So half-hour mark, Kane had an easy shot, which is an easy save. And then Foden had that free kick save, didn't trouble the goalkeeper. But like on the 40th minute, we really should have scored because the cross into the box was missed by Gallagher and Kane. I mean, someone should have got on the end of that, you know. And then Kane had a shot in the corner, and that was it for the first half. What was your take on the first half?
I thought he was quite staid, really. It wasn't. There was only one move that I liked, but it was offside because he strayed offside and then he crossed it, and it was a good goal. It was well worked, you know, but it was offside. So you could see clearly he made his run too early. Bellingham done a really good ball, but he went too early. And sometimes it's eagerness, you know, and some of it is nerves. Because like they haven't been playing well, they've been getting it from Gary Lineker and all the pundits in the whole of England. They've had their £5 worth, haven't they? But rightly so, because they haven't performed. And you know, you have to take the criticism sometimes, the critique as well, because some of them are giving encouragement and others are giving criticism. But at the end of the day, you've got to see it for what it is, and we weren't good enough. And we should be putting teams like Slovenia away 3 or 4-0 easily. No, but we didn't. They're a dogged team. I'll give them that. But they're not technical like we can play. When we step it up, and I just hope that we do step it up. But I can't see us like beating the likes of Spain or the likes of Germany, because if we play like that, we won't. If we step up our game, we've got a chance. Because we've got players who can turn it on. We've got players who are like on half engine at the moment. You know, they're not even full speed yet. So let's hope for the best, lads. Let's hope
Mark,
for the best.
your take? Your take on the first half?
It was just completely dreadful. Well, as you saw the comments I was putting into our WhatsApp group, honestly, I'm not sure who's let me down the most over the years, England or Tottenham. I'd have to say England because I've actually seen I'd have to say England because I've actually seen Tottenham win stuff. All right, it was years ago, but it's dreadful, absolutely dreadful. Like,
I agree.
Well, on 49 minutes we had a corner, and then
thank you.
And then there was a great cross by Kane into the box, which was just
beautiful cross.
A lovely cross, wasn't it? And
they didn't bust their gut, did they, to get on the end of it?
And so, and then 57 minutes, Saka had that overhead kick and was penalised with a free kick because he booted the guy in the face. Or just
I was going to say, I was going to say, to be honest, he nearly took the poor guy's head off.
Yeah.
And then in the 7th minute, Palmer came on for Saka, I think.
Yeah.
Rice had his shot wide on the 74th and 91 minutes. Cole Palmer shot, but it was an easy save.
The question,
my 5-year-old niece could have done that better.
Yeah.
The question I have is, why did it take 89 minutes to get Gordon on?
I know. Why? What's the point?
And did you see the first thing he done? He knocked it past his man. All right, it ran out of play, but he had him for pace as well.
Yeah.
He knocked it past him and ran past him, and you think, well, where was this? All right, the ball rolled out of play, but it was he tried it, and he would have pulled it off.
Do you think, Ellie, that Southgate was resigned to the draw by the time we got halfway through that second half?
I think so.
On the hour mark, say. Yeah.
See, he put 2 pretty decent players on in Mainu and Palmer. He tried, then he brought on Gordon too late. I mean, if you're going to go for it, I think he was quite reserved in that respect. But if you're going to go for it, put him on at the same time as Cole Palmer, because it wasn't working on that left-hand side. We weren't getting any joy apart from the offside goal that we created. There was nothing. It was like dead meat. It's like watching paint dry. Right, I would have liked to paint my room and bloody watched it dry rather than watch England play, But they are better than what they're showing. We know there's talent there. Foden can turn it on. Bellingham can turn it on. Kane can, and you've got Ollie Watkins in reserve. You've got Jarrod Bowen, who's a superb player. I love him because he'll work for you. He works his gut off, and he would have got on the end of one of those crosses. Because I know he's very tenacious and he'll get in there.
And said on one of his reports on one of the shows, he said, like, just play players in the right position. That's what he said.
That's what I'm saying. Play Foden on the right or in the middle.
In the middle, Foden's best.
Joy. Yeah,
in the middle.
He's happier. He's on his right foot as well, which makes sense. He's having to check all the time. Once you've checked, the defender's got you. Yeah, he's had your number.
I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to be done for treason here or nothing, but I was hoping that Denmark were going to score and England were like second or third in the group. Because
frustration and anger, isn't it, when you start thinking that way about it?
Because then we'd have had to play Germany or another top team. And we'd have been knocked out, and the misery would have been ended.
And
it's just a misery. It is just a misery watching England.
Yes.
You're right. Spurs, because he's right. He's right. Yeah, I mean, like.
Honestly, at halftime, I nearly thought, shall I put ITV4 on and watch a Denmark game?
Right, okay, then. Like, what we've seen in the Premier League and in these international matches, although this Euros has surprised me because most European or World Cup competitions, they start off, they're usually dire affairs when they start because no one goes for it. It's all about not losing your first game and getting 4 points to get through a group. But this has been a bit different, So, so there have been some nice games. There have been some good games, not that many, but there have been some good games. So do you think, I'll come to you, Mark, do you think that as we're in the knockout stage now, we will probably play teams that are going to have a go, so there'll be more space for our quality to shine.
Will it though?
Well, that's what I'm asking you the question.
I've said this. As long as we've got Southgate there, we're not winning nothing. Honestly, can you imagine this team with the talent this team has got? With I'm a bit biased, but Pochettino in charge, or someone like that.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be completely different.
Younger. Harry Redknapp would have been fantastic if you
anybody.
Or
anybody. But well, as you saw the messages in the group, I want Mike Bassett to come in.
Yeah.
That was a great film.
But football to me has become very robotic over the years, and coaching's become very robotic. And you see the same style of football in the Premier League in every game virtually, you know, and you see it at international level as well. You know, you need someone. Where are the innovative coaches? Like when we had going back to Ron Greenwood or Bobby Robson, Terry Venables, Glenn Hoddle, you knew then when we had those managers, when we were in a European or World Cup, England were always involved in probably, even if we got knocked out, the best game in the competition.
Yeah.
We had, I can't remember the last time we were involved in a good game. I can't remember the last time.
No,
I remember Gaza scoring that goal against Scotland.
I mean, everyone remembers Euro '96 when we beat Holland 4-1, and they still went through. They went through on the Kluivert goal. They went up to Antwerp to play their game. Everyone remembers that. I mean, it was great to watch. You had Venables was an innovative coach. We let this now.
Character as well. You know, Adrian, he had character. When he speaks, you listen. When no disrespect to Gareth Southgate, but he's not the most inspiring man when he talks.
Exactly.
I honestly turned it off before his interview come on. I turned it off.
I listened to any of the interviews.
It's depressing watching England.
Yeah,
honestly,
if you rubbish.
And you're right with the word inspirationally, because like with Ange, you know, we're at home at Chelsea and and we're losing, we got injuries and players sent off, and we're still going for it. You felt even with Spurs, I mean, if England went a goal or two down, you wouldn't give them a prayer and getting back into the game. But when Ange is at Spurs, if you're down a goal or two at half time, you think, well, we could still get into this, we could still win this game, because you know, we might lose 4-0, but we're going to have a go, you know. And I just don't get that with England. It's totally. And I want it. We all want it to happen, and we need a big. And I'm hoping that, because you know, you see it in the Premier League, all the top teams in the Premier League, whether it's Man City or not. I mean, they lost at Sheffield United and places like that. They all struggle against low block teams because it's the easiest thing to organise a defensive setup in football. You don't get hammered. You know, unless the low block team concedes an early goal, you don't tend to go on and beat them by 3 or 4. Right, so you've got that, and it's the same sort of. We've met teams that haven't got the quality, as you rightly said, Ellie. You know, Denmark and they're decent. You know, they haven't got our quality, but they put the work in, don't they? Put the effort and they press, and then they were forcing us to kick long, and that's always a bad sign, because it's a good sign when we're forcing their goalkeeper to kick long, because your central defender is going to pick it up. You're going to recycle, go again if you don't score, you know, then you hope you're going to force them to kick long and keep repeating that process. That's the whole point of the press. But, you know, I mean, like, he doesn't inspire Southgate. I mean, even if he were, you know, by some miracle now, as we're looking, we were to go on and win the competition, I don't think he'd want to stay, maybe, and maybe like he won't stay, you know. But you know, I mean, like,
if he wins, he's staying, isn't he? If he wins,
because he's not. I don't see him getting a top job anywhere else, because most fan bases won't want him wherever else.
Definitely not.
They won't want him. So you know, there was talk of Man, and I blame the FA for this as well. Let's just talk about them Muppets at the FA who spend millions of pounds, right, trying to enforce stupid, FFP rules and PSR rules that they put in place that, just haven't worked, and loopholes everywhere, right? And then you look at them, and the Premier League, they open the transfer window the same time as the Euros. I mean, like, you couldn't make it up. It's very Spurs in what they've done, And then you've got them like you've got them that they appoint a manager like Southgate. Now, they knew what they were getting before. He was at Middlesbrough, and he did an okayish job, and things like that. Yeah. But hardly an inspiring choice. He was more, to me, even back then, he was more of a political correct choice. They want a suited and booted, nicey one,
That's the only reason he got the job.
With Venables and that, not so much with Bobby Robson and Rongo, but with Venables and Hoddle, you had a little bit of controversy. You had Eileen Drew with Hoddle, and you had Venables, bit dodgy, Cockney, little bit of dodgy dealer and all that. But we loved that in them, didn't we? And we didn't give a crap about Eileen Drury, but the FA did. Do you know what I mean? I thought, you absolute muppets, you're getting rid of one of the most innovative, two of the most innovative managers we've got, right? Over that, and so they have to take responsibility anyway. I mean, especially in you got no confidence that if Southgate eventually decides to go, even if he wins the competition or not, I've got no confidence that
we got no chance of that. Let's get this straight.
And Absolutely. They tried it before with Capello and Sven-Goran Eriksson. Absolutely useless, defense-minded managers again. So if you haven't, we'll move on from England now. There's 2 games being played tonight. Czechia versus Turkey and Georgia.
What groups are they in?
Czechia and Portugal. I know you've got.
In it, Ori.
I can bring it up. Bring up. Is that the one you want?
That's Group E. That's Romania, Belgium. That's decided now. Those 2 are qualified. Well, the qualifiers at the moment, the Euro qualifiers, are Germany and Switzerland from Group A, Spain and Italy from Group B. You've got England and Denmark. Now, I've got this from One Football. Now, Denmark and Slovenia have got exactly the same goal difference and points.
They have.
So, but it shows Denmark as second, probably on alphabetical order on One Football.
Or is that goal scored? Is that goal scored or something?
They've got the same. They've got exactly the same, right?
When they have the same goal difference, what about goals scored?
It's the same. They've got exactly the same. So you've got Group D, Austria, France. Group E today, I watched the game, Romania, Belgium. It's a decent game. Group F, it looks like Portugal and Turkey, but you've still got that they're playing, aren't they? Turkey are playing Czechoslovakia, and the 2 teams, because Portugal got 6 points, they're through, but Turkey have got 3, but the other 2 teams have got a point each. They've got a point each, so you'd fancy Turkey. I mean, if Turkey they just need a point in their game against Turkey need a point against Czechoslovakia, so it's looking like Portugal and Turkey. And then you've got 3rd place teams so far: Holland, Slovakia. If it is Slovenia or Denmark, I'm not sure. Hungary, Croatia and Czechoslovakia. I mean, the 3rd place teams are not bad teams. I mean, like Holland, I don't think Holland are a bad team. I'd never underestimate Croatia. And Czechoslovakia looked a bit decent the other day. I can't really comment about Slovakia, Hungary, and Slovenia, although they held us. So don't think they're the strongest. But there's 3 of those teams. I'm not sure they will be the 6 3rd place teams. Because
it's only 4. It's only 4 3rd places that go through.
Yeah, it's 4. Yeah, because you've got 6 groups. This is top 2. This is 12. Then you've got 4 3rd place teams.
Makes up 16.
We'll know more after tonight's games, and then it's a question. We will be playing. I think England will be playing one of those
Sunday.
Teams.
It's Sunday 5 o'clock that England will be losing.
I don't know if we can play Slovenia again. I don't know if we can play them again.
We'll see.
I
don't think it really matters who England play. They're going to lose.
Well, I think out of that 6, I mean, if you don't want Croatia or Czechoslovakia or Holland, so if you had Slovakia or Hungary, that would be all right. I thought, you know what I mean. I mean, if we're going to go through, let's be lucky.
To be honest,
and we've been lucky as well because both our goals have been deflections.
To be honest, whoever England play, whoever England play is just delaying the inevitable. It's just delaying the misery for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go and get a drink because I'm parched. This room is baking
It's hot, isn't it?
It's baking hot. I can't open the window because the cats are in here.
Right.
Right, I'm just going to go and get a drink. 2 seconds, yeah?
What
teams have impressed you, Mark, in the Euros?
I haven't watched all the games, but it's the normal. Well, outside of your normal suspects like your Germanys, your Frances, the good teams. Romania impressed me, especially our boy Dragon.
Yeah,
but I think I only saw their first game though. But he was on fire that game. I'm trying to think anybody else, but it's normally the normal suspects.
Well, Germany and Switzerland finished first. Spain and Italy, either of those?
Yeah. Well, that's the big teams, isn't it? So Spain look good. Spain do look very good. Italy sort of plod along though, don't they?
They know how to game manage though, don't
they? Yeah, that's it. I mean, Italy are never. Well, I'm not sure if I'm saying the wrong thing here, but Italy are never. They're never like a Brazil, are they? That'll just the sort of samba football. Italy do enough to win.
Yeah. They always look as though they're held back, that they're shackled from expressing themselves. Don't they?
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got England, Denmark, and neither of those have impressed.
No.
Austria and France. Austria are a bit of a dark horse. They came into this competition.
Yeah, Austria have done all right, and France.
Yeah, I think they came into this competition about 7 games unbeaten. Austria.
Yeah,
I know nothing about them. Sabitzer plays for them, I think.
No. The only thing I can remember about Austria, I forget what word.
He plays from his Austrian as well, isn't he?
Yeah. The only thing that I've ever known about Austria is that the reason that these games now have got to be played kicking off at the same time, the last game in the group, is because of Austria and Germany had that kickabout, didn't they, in the World Cup?
Yeah.
When a draw was enough to put them both through, and they just kicked it about in midfield for 90 minutes.
Yeah, that was bent, but you couldn't say it was,
Yeah, but what was that? Was that 80, 84 or 1980 World Cup? It was in the World Cup. In Austria and Germany. Austria and Germany played at a 0-0, so they both went through because the other game had already gone on before. So they knew that a draw would put them both through.
Switzerland are a bit of a dark horse as well.
Yeah.
I think, and then we come to 2 teams. Belgium lost their first game, didn't they, before they came out? But they came out as though they meant business in the game. I see them play, and they won.
The thing is with Belgium, though, is they had a really good team a few years ago, but they're all sort of pushing. I mean, is it Jan still playing for him?
Yeah, he's still playing for him.
He's 37. I'm sure they said that on the telly.
Yeah, Romania look. Like they always look a very nippy, slick passing team, don't they? Romania.
And Hungary are pretty good. Hungary,
yeah. I haven't.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're decent, right? They really work for each other. They play as a team, right? And they know each other's game because they've been together for so long, right? But they've got youngsters who've come in who the manager's brave enough to play, and they look good. I thought they beat us 4-0, didn't they, at Wembley? Flipping hell. Yeah. I know.
To be honest, out of all these teams you mentioned, I can see all of them beating England if we draw them.
Yeah, so right.
Mark's ever the optimist.
It's a waste of time getting excited for England. It's
because he's disaffected like a lot of England fans are. It is so perplexing when you try to figure out how much talent can play so poorly, to be polite. Yeah. So Belgium you never know what you're going to get with Belgian champagne or lemonade, you know. But they did look good, you know. So yeah, even though they rode their luck at times. Third place teams now. Who would you want out of Holland, Slovakia? If it is Slovenia or Denmark, Hungary, Croatia, Czechoslovakia, and I'm not sure about tonight's game. So like the
I can check the score
versus Turkey, you know, Portugal are through. So unless Georgia or Czechoslovakia can somehow pip Turkey.
Georgia are 1-0 up against Portugal.
Well, that would give them 4 points. That would give them 4 points, and if Turkey have got 3, so I don't know what the goal. Well, I think Georgia have lost games, so I think Turkey will have a better goal difference without even looking. You know. Yeah,
at the moment, Georgia 1, Portugal 0, and the Czechs and Turkey is 0-0.
Well, Portugal might be playing their second 11 because they're through, aren't they?
Well, yeah.
They got 6 points, so they were through.
Check their team out if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, check the team out. We've got plenty of time. So check.
Yeah.
What do you say, the Portuguese team?
Who do you think are the weakest out of the third place, Delhi? If it's Holland, Slovakia, Slovenia, Hungary, Croatia, Czechoslovakia? Or do you think there aren't any? Or they're all a matchless?
Yeah, they're all. No, I reckon probably Slovenia the weakest because they didn't impress me against England, you know.
Right. Yeah, but
we played them even though we were still in the same group as them.
Who do you think out of those teams? If it is one of those 6, unless it can only be Georgia or Czechia. It can only be unless one of them gets a third place as well, the Czechs or Georgia, right? So it can only be one of them if by some miracle Turkey don't get a point today. Yeah. So who do you think plays the more open football out of those teams, so as we can get a bit more space to use our creativity, so as our quality players can perform? Because I think we'll play better against a team that gives it a go rather than trying to break down a low block.
The thing is, the thing is, I think if I've got to play one of these, I don't want to be disrespectful, but one of these smaller nations, footballing standards, then I think they're just going to play like the teams I've been. You know, shut up shop, 6 or 7 behind the ball, 8, 9 behind the ball, because they know that we could play 500 minutes and we still wouldn't score.
Yeah.
Right, again.
Right, but there's no optimism left.
Yeah, there's just no cohesion.
They've killed his heart, haven't they? They've killed your heart. England.
Would you like me to read out Portugal's team?
Go on, read it out.
Right. Hang on, let's sort my glasses out. Diogo Costa, he's the goalie. Is he the normal goalie? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Antonio Silva. Pereira.
Yeah.
Pereira, is that his name? In Casio, that's 3 defenders. Then they're playing 3-4-3. Dallo, Polinia, João Neves, Pedro Neto. I've heard of most of them, and so that must be virtually the start.
Neto, he's a balls, isn't it? It's a very good player.
And up front, they've got Francesco, someone. Concello. Ronaldo and João Felix. And so is that?
Yeah, João Felix.
The only person. Well, I know they've given Pepe a rest, mind you. He's 41. He's 41 and still playing. You know, him and Ronaldo. I mean, like they'll be.
I was going to say, is Ronaldo 40 yet?
Pepe's 41 though.
I think he's 39.
Yeah, I was going to say he's got Ronaldo seems to have been about forever.
That's still a strong Portugal team.
Oh, it is it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, he's been around forever. He has. He's been around a bit as well. Like he's won a lot of trophies along the way. Scored some fabulous goals.
That's why he's got a 6-pack. That's why he's got a
He's
six-pack.
coming.
He picks up.
Yeah. He works on it, doesn't he, Mark? He's working on it every day.
He picks up about 3 trophies a year.
Yeah, he does. I think he picks
Evening,
up more
Paul.
trophies than most clubs.
Yeah.
Evening, Paul. Nice one.
Yeah.
Thanks
Good evening.
for joining us.
Have you got? I mean, I haven't. Although I always do a lot of research on Spurs mainly. Is there any clues to like who we are going to meet, Ellie? Do you know that when you was looking for your groups? Is there any clues to? Because is it because normally if I'd researched better, I mean, like normally it'd say our winners of Group 2 play third.
Yeah, that's what I thought it would have said.
Yeah, I know we've avoided Germany, and I know we've avoided
And
Spain, but I don't know who we're playing next.
No, in the game, what
again?
This is the final. This is the final games, isn't it, tonight of the groups?
Yeah, it gets exciting now because it's knockout now. That's what
so I would have thought we'd know at the end of the games tonight, unless we already know. I don't know, but I know England are playing 5 o'clock Sunday.
See, yeah, the only difference I can see happening is if for some reason in the rules that you can't meet a team you've met in your group before, like say, oh, would we be allowed to play Slovenia again? You know, or if Denmark were the third place team, because I'm not sure if they're not second or third, would we or would we just naturally miss them because they're in our group anyway, so we would miss them anyway? You'd think so, wouldn't you? Logically, you'd think that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I mean,
definitely.
we're all going to. I'm going to be. I mean, that gets my interest now when I see the draw for the next games. You know, the next 8 games. 8, 4, 2, and 1. You know, you only got 4 games to win, and we Southgate can run around with a trophy. You know.
Yeah. Well, if he wins it, it'll be a miracle, and I think Mark will have to eat his words.
I will do. I should be on here humbly apologising.
Yeah, you'll be apologising. He'll say, "Kiss my foot and apologise."
Yeah. Yeah.
England,
but you won't
player so far. Who do you think England's best player has been so far?
Bloody hell.
The
worst is Gareth Southgate by a long way.
I think Mark Guay of Palace got.
Yeah, he's done all right.
Yeah, I think he's been the standout.
Yes.
He's got some fabulous tackles, hasn't he? And he's tracked back, he's busted his gut.
No one else to me.
Passing well.
No one else to me really gets some mention.
I don't think anybody else gets a mention. Maybe Carl Walker for some of the sometimes. Like he's trying, the boy.
I mean, he's pushing 40 as well, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, I think he's 35, I think.
Well, I thought he was about 38 or something.
Is he that old? Bloody hell.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm probably wrong. I'm normally wrong.
So what about any other players from other teams caught your eye? Like that you'd like to come to Spurs, or any of them caught your eye in the games you've watched? I know we've only watched a handful of games.
I like Sabitzer.
The Austrian,
and I like Christensen, the ex-Chelsea defender. I think he's fabulous. He reads the game so well. He's very athletic, tall, strong. Brings the ball out really well. But he reminds me a bit like Alan Hansen, but not as good. You know, he's nearly there. He's not quite Alan Hansen, but he's a good defender. I'd like him for experience. You know, when we need to come off the bench.
There's a
Dragushin's been.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was going to be funny. Yeah. There's a player plays for Romania, Dragushin. He's caught the eye.
Yeah, he's playing very well.
Yeah.
I can't remember what team he plays for.
I don't know. Some team in North London.
Yeah. No. Who's that Fulham?
Word.
Who's the Fulham striker? Mitrovic.
Oh, Mitrovic, who plays for Serbia, but he's gone now. They've got Muniz.
Oh, did they get knocked out? Oh.
Yeah, they got knocked out. They only got 1 point, so they're out. I know, they got 2 points, sorry. So they're out completely.
I'd like him to come to Spurs. I've always liked him. He scored a hell of a goal when I was at the stadium.
When he was first with Fulham, he scored a load of goals in the Championship. He came up he had a poor season. He went back down again with them and stayed with them. And when he came up again, he had a good season. And then he got sold on, but people weren't queuing up for him. You know, they weren't sure about him, so they weren't exactly queuing up. Any other
I was at the stadium. I was at the stadium when we beat them 3-1, and he scored a hell of a goal.
Caught the eye?
Yeah.
Any German players caught the eye? He did play well for Dick.
Yeah.
So did Hoyman as well. And we were linked with Hoyman.
He's been playing well, but I'll be serious. I like the young Barcelona player. What's his name? Lamau? Is it Lamau?
Lamau, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's fabulous.
He's a generational talent as well, yeah.
Yeah, he's a generational talent. He's got great movement as well, Adrian.
And the other player in the Denmark team, he got headlines, and in our Spurs Facebook group with 14,000 members roughly, for those of you in the chat. But I did post in there, and I did post a video of Hoyman because we were linked with him before, and now I've had positive and negative comments in the group. Oh yeah, scores a goal in the Euros, and we're looking at. No, we have been looking at him before. He's a very energetic midfielder, and if Angie's looking for a box-to-box midfielder, I wouldn't mind him. I think he looks all right. You know, but there are others as well. Yeah. I'm wondering, any other players caught your eye? Defenders or attackers? How many strikers have been getting a mention in this tournament?
No. There's not really been a lot of goals, is there? Yeah. Like England's group was the lowest scoring ever.
Yeah. I mean, I like Vlahovic in the game against us.
Yeah.
All he did was he did that turn and shoot from nothing, which produced a good save from. I like the player, right? That doesn't make me an expert on strikers or any footballer, to be honest with you. But I like Vlahovic. I would love him at Spurs. I think it'd suit the Ainge system perfectly.
Don't you think we're about 3 or 4 years late for him though? We should have got him like.
No, he's only 24, I think.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's young.
No, he's another one. So he seems to have been about forever.
Look him up. I think it's about 24 now.
He's 24. I checked it the other day because I was.
We were linked with him about 3 or 4 years ago.
This is why I think we can talk about Spurs link. This is why I think. Let's move over. I don't know if you know much about the Copa America. The games are on late. I know that Argentina qualified because they beat Chile 1-0 there through. I think Canada are playing tonight or something. They lost their first game, didn't they? Argentina, I think it was 2-0.
Yeah, they lost 1-0 to Argentina, didn't they?
2, I think it was 2-0. Yeah. So evening, Ben. Let's give him a shout out.
Sure.
Evening, Ben.
Mr. Kaufman.
Big up to everyone in the chat. I know the football's on. Our audience will grow. I'm sure it will when the season starts because I'll make it grow, right? So so not if you've got any players that have caught your eye in the Euros, guys. I mean, I
like Bernardo Silva. I like Morata. I think he's played well for Spain. Led the line really well. He surprised me, Morata, because he's got a lot of criticism in back in the day. And like when he was at Chelsea, he didn't quite cut the mustard. He was a nearly man. You know, he scored goals, but not enough. But he's carving out an international career for himself, and he's making a name for himself in this particular finals. He's making a lot of room for other players. If you watch him, he does so many clever runs to take his marker away, and he distracts. That's what a good striker does. You know, sometimes you don't have to score, but you can create a goal by making really good, sharp movements and clever movements. Yeah, other than that, no one really has stood out. Maybe there's a. I think he plays for Slovakia and he begins with S. Sabozai or something similar.
The player at Liverpool, he's been pants this season.
Not Sabozai, not that one. There's another guy who begins with S. But I think he's Sobsai or something like that. He's impressed me as well. And he's a slim guy. He's quite slim, athletic, not that tall, but he's like, you know, he goes for it, and he really does some good runs as well. I liked him. I think his name's Sobai or something like that. So I should be writing these names down as I see them. I should be writing them down, but I'm getting carried away with all the football, so I'm just watching it. I'm not writing anything down because when Højbjerg played against England, I was writing everything he done.
Man of the match, by the way. Man of the match.
Yeah, he was man of the match. He was brilliant.
I mean, I write everything down, as you know, because I do run sheets for each show. Then we can have some sort of structure to the show, and we can keep the conversation going. Like if there is, not so much news about that. So we'll know. We should know. I don't know if they're going to do it tonight or tomorrow. The draw with UEFA. Got no confidence in them. They're just a bunch of crooks.
There's no draw. Is there a draw for the next round?
I don't know.
I don't know how it works.
Sort them out. Whether they sort themselves out.
The teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've already panned it out, haven't they? But we just haven't had it yet.
Get that up, that would be good.
I was going to say, does like Ben or Phil or whoever else is in the comments know who England are going to likely face?
Knocked out by in the next game.
I can Google it.
As I said earlier, it doesn't matter who England face next because they'll probably lose anyway. Just to get the misery over and done with.
Yeah. So that's the Copa America.
I haven't watched all that. It's on at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, I'm not watching it either. I mean, there's been Gallagher because he's shit.
That's my hour.
Only have one decent player. That's Mark Guay. Everybody else has been crap, right? So I
don't think that Jude Bellingham's because he was brought in. He was talked up, but he hasn't been that good.
No.
Are we playing the Netherlands, are we?
England are playing the Netherlands. Oh, well, that's us out then.
That'll be a good game,
Yeah.
Yeah, on that. So, then we don't have to worry about the other teams, but I'm sure
we're going to play Stevie Bergwijn, aren't we? Stevie Bergwijn on the wing.
Well, they got a good defence, haven't they? I'm not so sure. I don't think they've got the greatest attack, Holland, to be honest. They're always the wingers, really, but
I mean, we got the beating of Holland. Come on, they're not performing that well. They're performing worse than us. So if we can't beat Holland,
is that possible? Is that possible to perform worse than us?
Well, I've been watching Holland, and they've been pants as well.
Are they dreadful? Are they?
Yeah, they've been playing rubbish. Yeah, they just scrape through. They just scrape through in their group.
Let's all yawn and talk about the transfer window, right? Incomings and outgoings.
What transfer window? Has it started yet?
Yeah, they did open it. The Premier League did open it the same day as Euros because they are a bunch of muppets, aren't they? To be fair. So, I mean, I'm going to come to you first, Mark. Have you heard anything? I've heard a few things, but have you heard anything in the market?
I haven't heard anything.
Right. Okay.
No, I get all my information from what's his name? Fabrizio Romano.
Yeah, these so-called
Romano is from Tottenham on Tour. That's where I get my information from.
And you've got all these so-called experts, transfer experts, right? But they only predict it when it's virtually announced. They never, they never try and predict anything before it happens. Well, today, this was late on the scene actually. We were linked with Jacob Ramsey at Villa. And the rumour is, if this rumour is true, that we offered him Lo Celso and 20 mil and that the offer's been turned down. He's a busy young player, Jacob Ramsey. Have you watched him play?
I like him.
Yeah. We won't be doing no business with Aston Villa because we're not one of them teams in trouble that have been passing things to get ourselves out of the nonsense, But it's like pass the parcel with them lot, isn't it?
Bear in mind,
we'll scratch your back if you scratch ours.
Villa are one of the teams that got to sell. Villa, Wolves, Chelsea, Newcastle, Forest, probably Leicester. And they're awaiting a points deduction. And I'm not sure about Man United or Man City, but there was about 6 that have to sell. So So Villa, well, I don't know. I think we'll go for a few that we want in a transfer window, and then we'll try and squeeze some deals out of teams that are desperate to sell, so they don't get penalised by the new.
Are they going to though? Because I watched Sean Butler's video the other day, and he reckoned that they're just like helping each other out.
They are when they've got when they've got secondary clubs and they buy a player in cheaper than they would normally, then he could be sold and things like that.
Because
there's so many loopholes, you know.
Let me get this right. Was it Villa have bought someone from Chelsea or Newcastle or something like that, and they bought him for a highly inflated price? He was only worth like
Villa bought
2 or 3 million. And they bought him for something like 30 million or something stupid like that, just so they can put, just so they can put like against their losses, and so they don't come under the. It's like a you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours scenario going on between these teams. And to be honest, it's like you said at the beginning, Adrian.
Yeah.
When these FFP rules and the other one was written up, why didn't they get a lawyer to do them? So there was no, they were watertight. There was no I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. Because I mean, to be honest, I only watched Sean Butler's video, and he's the financial person. You know, he knows a lot about finances and that. And from what he said on there, then it's just a waste of time, this PSR.
And it's messy because
it makes a fool of it.
Yeah, the profit sustainable rules, PSR, FFP, financial fair play, right? My understanding is you could lose 35 million a year over 3 years, 105 million, but that's going, right?
Yeah.
So they're not ratified in the new SCR rules, which are squad cost ratio. If they're ratified this month, which looks like they're going to be, and you know, it makes you laugh why the Premier League brought in constraints on what clubs could spend and lose over a 3-year period. At least you do it over a 1-year period. It's less complicated, right?
Yeah.
It's less chance of people, you know, trying to like bend the rules as such.
Yeah.
Well, squad cost ratio is quite easy. I mean, it's very simple. Basically, it's like what all it boils down to is your total revenue stream. So Spurs own 549 million, right? Then you take off that all football related income, only the football related income. So we had 251.1 million in wages. So you would take that off. We've got 308 million, I think it is, in outstanding agents fees and transfers fees. So that would be amortized over 5 years. So just to make it easy, say you take 60 million off of that, right? So you're now at 311 million, right? You take the 20 million of debt, which you're at 300. So to keep it simple, I won't go into anything long-winded over this because we know that when you go on a pre-season tour, you've got the costs of staying in hotels, 5-star hotels, flights and all that. But the same, you've got all the costs related to the stadium and going to away matches here and all. So just say, for example, it's 349 million because it makes it easier. 549 million, take off the 349. What you're left is 200 million, right? You can spend in Europe 80% of that. So if you had 200 million, Sean will say it's less, you'd be able to spend 160 million. Sean reckons we've got about 120 million. I don't disagree with that. I think it's a bit more. I think it's more because on average, since 2019, we have spent 685 million on 29 players, you know, and like about 20 of them have been pants anyway, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, well done for that as well, wasn't it?
Which averaged out at 137 million a year. Now we don't need hundreds of millions of pounds, right, to strengthen the squad, because all you need is enough money to put a down payment down on the player. Yeah. So we, in theory, if we only had 100 mil, we could put 5 20 mil down payments on 5 60 million pound players. Yeah. So there's no excuse. There's no excuse for us not having a good window. Now, I'm not governed by the price of a player. If I like the player, I like Sergi Guirassy at Stuttgart. It cost about 15 million. I think he could do a job for us. Will we get him? No, because he's 28, 29. But if he did a job for a couple of years, Donnelly, Lancashire, they'd all be a couple of years older. Velez, Parrott, they'd all be a bit older. So it wouldn't bother me. I'm not too bothered. I don't mind a striker or a central defender being a bit older, because central defenders mature at an older age and strikers get more guile when they're older. They're more, you know, they know how to lose a defender, drop off, you know, find their runs better, blah, blah. So I don't mind a striker that's a bit older. So, yeah, but I don't, You know, I mean, I'm like, I don't know how we're approaching this window. I would hope that our recruitment team have been busy, and that they will have had at least a list of 4 or 5 players in each position that Ange wants to strengthen. And my whole view on that is like, our main priority should be striker first. That should be our first target. Unless there's some opportunity player comes in, some opportunity deal that comes in, striker should be first, because we know we need someone with Richarlison. And Sonny can play on the left and Werner can sit on the bench, right? So like, we need some opportunity striker. Then Højbjerg's going, which looks like, I mean, Ange would keep him. But
don't say that. You're not allowed to say that. Højbjerg,
but Højbjerg,
if Højbjerg's going, he's worth 100 million now.
Yeah,
after his performance against England.
Højbjerg wants more. Højbjerg wants to go because he wants more game time. Ange would keep him. And he's been a good servant to this club.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with him.
Quick to turn on players, but he has been a good servant, you know.
It's all right. He's a decent player. He's not.
I've never had a problem with him.
So to me, yes. What I see is, go on, Ellie.
I was going to say he's nothing to write home about, but he does a job for you, and he's experienced, and you know, when he plays for Denmark, obviously he's playing for his country. When he plays for Spurs, the first 2 seasons were fantastic. The third one, Postecoglou comes in, he drops him to the bench. So he's stayed professional. You know, he's made a few gaffes here and there. We all saw him, and he's fallen over a few times. But the thing is, he's a decent player, you know, and he'll give his all. That's the main thing. That you need players with experience in your team to settle down the youngsters as well, show them the way. They're a good influence in the dressing room as well, because they've been around a bit. He started his career with Bayern, didn't he? So he started off high and then went to Southampton. So that was a sidestep, wasn't it? Then he comes to Spurs. We make Europa League and Champions League. So at the end of the day, he's had his number now. He's going to go somewhere where he suits his style better. Because
a slower pace.
Yeah, a slower pace game, you know, where he can take his time. Because where he moves the ball quickly, he makes mistakes. He does.
I've never had a problem with him. Virtually every time I go, he scores.
We're being more strongly linked.
It's like a lucky charm.
Yeah, we're being more strongly linked with Jonathan David. Have either of you watched him?
I quite like his goal ratio.
Is he the Canadian guy?
Yeah, Canadian black guy.
Yeah, he's black player, Canadian guy. He's a bit of a penalty box merchant when you watch the videos of him. Like, he can finish. Last 2 seasons in France, he's averaged a good. Yeah, but it's France again. You know, we've had some great luck with French players, haven't we? We should never. We should never sign. We should never sign a player from France with an N in their surname, like NG, Nkudu, Ndobele. There should be a rule at Spurs where we ban that, right? Because it's a disaster.
If it's a name, we'll change it to a W or a V.
Put Lut in front of it.
You're not allowed to come because your name begins with
N. So we've dropped off the Jimenez, the Santiago Jimenez, the Mexican who's born in Buenos Aires, the young striker in Holland. Mind you, Parrott scored about almost as many goals as him out there, so probably doesn't say a lot for their league. And things have gone cold on Ivan Toney as well, haven't they? So, and Ali Goldstead, now he's pretty reliable. I mean, obviously he has got the ear of someone at the club. I mean, like the club are not going to tell him outright who we're after and how much we're paying. But if he asks, sort of, look, give me something, come on, please, just give me something. Are we in for Tony or are we in for him? And his source might say, no, we're not actually. I don't think we're in for him unless it's a late deal and we can't get in whoever we want. So Jonathan David's come on the scene. There was mention of Xerxes as well at Atlanta or Bologna, striker there. Other than that, I mean, strikers. I mean, like I said, I'd like Vlahovic. We're not going to get a Pender either. I like him. He's nippy, you know. And what strikers have you seen out there, guys? You seen any that you like or whatever? No.
I like that Gurakis. who was at Coventry.
Is it Benfica or Sporting striker for them? Yeah,
I think he is now Sporting. Obviously, I love Vlahovic because I think he's so strong and powerful, and he'd suit the Premiership because he's got the physicality, he's got the strength, he's got everything. He can finish with his head, feet, everything. So he just needs the right team to create the goals, and we do create chances. I think we were right up there in creating chances, but we missed so many. I think he's brilliant. I like. There's lots of players that are on the fringe. What happened to that other guy we were after, the Nigerian boy who plays in Holland? Yeah, he went a bit quiet. No, there's only those two really, Vlahovic and that Gurakis. I really like, because I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Yeah.
Gurakes, I think his name.
Gurakes,
Gurakes. Yeah, I liked him at Coventry. He was fabulous. Right, I know it's a different league, but Coventry are really good team.
Yeah, there's a promising young Brazilian striker in Portugal, Evan Nilsson. He looks.
Just one question. How much would Vlahovic cost, and will we pay it?
Well, they bought it.
50, yeah, about 50, 60, around about that mark.
Oh, is it?
Land him.
Yeah. The reason I say
probably would then. Well, you never know.
I think Juve paid 40 million euros for him, which was 34 million. They'd want to profit on him. I think if you started mentioning 50 million, you'd start talking business. I think you'd get him. And if you could get him for 60, we should go get him.
To be honest,
think he's the best value, and he will score goals. He will score goals. I mean, he just showed what he can do. He runs at players. He wants to take them on. He breaks from the left-hand side of midfield. He breaks from midfield. He's up front. I mean, I like the player. He's a natural, to me, he's a natural goal scorer. Another player I like, because I've banged on about in so many podcasts, the fact that, like, you need nearly upwards of 80. You need upwards. I mean, it's taken an average of 82 goals since the Premier League was inaugurated in 1992 to win the league. But the last 10 seasons, Man City have won 7 league titles, I think. And a couple of those occasions, they scored 101 or 106 goals. And even Arsenal this past season, they scored 90 goals and couldn't win the league. Now, that would normally be enough, right?
That's a shame. That was a shame. That was.
Yeah, I know, but if you're taking, if you're using 90 goals as a guide, when people start telling us, like, oh, Soren's there, look, when people keep telling us that, oh, go for this tricky flash winger if he's a Pedro Neto, not fine, although he's injury prone. But we need to bring wingers in. If we're going to bring a winger, and we need a goal-scoring winger, we can't keep having players that just look good and are tricky. Because if Son even got you 25 goals a season, right, you want at least another 20 from 2 wide players, or if he's or whatever, or 25 from your central striker, 10 from that's 45. You're only halfway there. You're now looking for 45 goals for the rest of your team, and we haven't got it at Spurs. We just haven't got it. And like,
there is this guy that plays for Bayern Munich. He's meant to be quite good. Harry somebody.
Gnabry. Oh, Harry Kane.
Yeah.
I think he's brilliant.
He's all right, allegedly.
I like young Skov Olsen in Belgium. He's just a winger that scores goals. He's got an eye for goals. I just like him.
I'd like Rafinha as well. I think Rafinha's goals in him. He scores 13, 14 goals from the wing. That's decent.
Yeah.
Believe
it or not, his stats are twice as good as Pedro Neto's. And Spurs fans, look, you can like the players. I mean, Neto played very well against us, didn't he? I mean, you can like the players, but our front line was pants this season. Our midfield was pants. Our defenders were good, right? But like, I mean, like, we need goals in midfield. And we need goals up. We need more goals up front, and you need players that have got an eye for goal, not frightened to have a shot. Wingers like that.
Then why the hell did we buy Mr. Useless? Or keep him on loan? It's a mystery.
He's just a squad player. I mean, we get another striker in, right? Look at this. We get another striker in as backup for Richarlison. I'm hoping that Richarlison's got his psychological problems behind him and his injuries problems behind him, and he has a breakout season. We all do. We want the players to do well, right? If not, that will be his last season in a Spurs shirt because he'll be sold, right? He will be gone, right? And Werner's a squad number, because if we get another striker and we've got 2 strikers that play at the 9, well, Sonny's not going to be left on the bench. He's their best striker, so he's going to be playing on the left, and Werner's going to be behind him. If we so
Werner's a squad player on 165 grand a week.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I know. I get it.
Mysterious.
And if we get Eze in, he plays on left midfield, left anyway, number 10. That pushes Werner even further down the pecking order.
So it makes you wonder why we kept him.
We're not good.
I think he should stay in the car park when he comes to his car.
He's got the loan. He can't score goals. He's got the loan deal. We're not buying him after next season. By then,
can he do beer running in the bricklayers when I go?
Yeah,
he can be my beer runner.
Yeah,
and we started getting talk now. We talk about like midfielders and that. We're not going to go in and like pay a fortune for midfielders, 45, 50 mil max. I'm excluding Eze, of course. He would be the marquee signing. I don't see any other what I would call marquee signings out there actually that are available, because if they're in Champions League, they're not coming to Spurs, right?
No.
So I don't see any out there, unless the rumours are about Nico Williams has got a release clause, or Danny Almo has got a release clause, but word is on a few reports I read that they're happy where they are, not going to move. So, but we'll see, because these stories were going to keep being generated as Sorry, not wrong.
I think he's just trying to wind us up.
No, he's being facetious, I think. Yeah,
he's had too many whiskeys.
Before, isn't it?
He's had too many whiskeys.
Defenders, guys, defenders. Any defenders you're looking at or wouldn't mind having? Mark, any defenders out there you're looking at?
I've not seen anybody. I mean, to be honest, we could do with one more, couldn't we? I think.
Yeah.
You know, because you need at least 4, don't you? Because you've got to remember.
Yeah, it depends on the Emerson situation. If he does go, if the Italian clubs cop up, because AC Milan apparently they want him and Højbjerg, Ellie. That's one of the reports I read. They want both. Wow. But they don't want to cough up the money. So if they don't cough up the money, then Emerson stays put, and even Højbjerg will stay put.
Yeah,
it makes me laugh. It makes me laugh with Italian clubs or clubs in Europe when we want a player from them, it's vast amounts of money, but when they want a player from us, they plead poverty. Oh, we haven't got no money. We'll give you like 50p a week.
Yeah,
you know, it's always like, well, who is it? Was it the Royale deal that Levy got levied? He wanted
or the Porro deal as well, because they don't get their heels in. I mean, and the chairman of was it Lille at the time, when we got Ndombele and they squeezed the money out for him, he dug his heels in. So Levy doesn't always get it his own way. But now, I mean, like, look, the budget should be given to Scott Munn, and Scott Munn with Johan Lange, right, is the one that they should be deciding how they're going to spend it and discuss it with Ange and Rob McKenzie, the chief scout. Because once you've done the data analysis, you then send your chief scout out and all that to watch the player. You then got to do more due diligence, because now I think you should always do due diligence on the player's psychological background, because you don't end up with another Ndombele, right? You know, a lazy sod, right? So you don't fall in. I mean, and I think that it's not that we haven't spent money. We've averaged 137 million each year since that stadium's opened. So I'd expect we've got a similar amount, and that's without sales. I mean, you'll get money for the players we've got to get rid of.
Do you honestly believe, though, that is the way that it happens? Like, there's all this money give to them two without Levy poking his nose in?
Oh, there'll be a budget.
No. But do you honestly think that's the way it happens? Like, the money's given to Lange and that other bloke you mentioned, and it's here we go. This is what you've got to spend.
Well, because this is the first time it's
because I don't.
Well, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. That's an opinion, isn't it? This is what we're led to believe now that Scott Munn's come in, that Levy takes the back seat, and he probably goes, right, fair enough, this is the budget, but if you want X amount of players, this is what you've got, and you can have money on tick on player sales. Now, we could quite easily get in 50 million upwards in player sales. I mean, there was enough players to get rid of it. I mean, what do you think, for example, you would get for my, I mean, like we've got here, let's see if I've got on list here somewhere. I did have. Maybe it's on the page. I mean, Spence, Roden. I mean, like, if you went 10 mil each, Regulon, what's he worth? Someone will buy a left back. Left-footed players are a rarity, right? 10, Gill, 10. That's 40. Then you got Lo Celso, Højbjerg, and Emerson. I mean, most conservative way, even if you're the most like depressed Spurs fan, you're looking at, for those 7 players there. I mean, to me, you're looking at a minimum of 70 mil. I'm serious. I'm not joking. In case people think I am if they watch it on playback. You know,
well, Højbjerg's got worth 50 now after the way he played against England. That pushed his value right up.
Emerson's a good defender. He just doesn't suit the system.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got that. On the subject of defenders, though, we have been linked with Calafiori. We have been linked with Archie Gray. We have been linked with Vanderson. We've been linked with Gertrude. I like Gertruda, right? I really like this player. If out of him, Anderson, if Emerson goes, if out of Gertruda, Archie Gray, or Vanderson, I would go for Gertruda
There's another
first.
player I'd like. Another player I'd like, I just thought of Pellegrini from Roma. I think that's a brilliant player. You know, he's such a good player. He's always attacking. He tracks back. He's dogged. He's got skills. You know, I like him.
But
if Mr. Kaufman's still in the comments, he was bigging up that Calafiori, whatever his name is.
He's left-footed. I don't think we're going to get as well. Because our priorities lie like striker, midfielder. We're not so desperate for a central defender at the moment. We've got 3 and we've got young central defenders as well. No urgency there. Obviously, if Emerson goes, we have to get cover for Porro. We've got cover for your doggy because worst case scenario, you got Ben Davis, right? So like he's still got a year to go on his contract. So I don't think we're looking, unless we get an opportunist like left back or good player comes up, don't think we'll go for it. I also don't believe, I don't know if you guys do, I don't believe we're going to be paying 50 mils for defenders, right? If we're going to concentrate on a striker, say it's Jonathan David for 25, 30 mil with add-on, say, and we get Eze in for 60 mil, so that's 90 mil, that's fine. All right, it'll be down payments. Another midfielder or perhaps a winger, then we're not, when you look at Vanderson and Gertrude, if you can get them for 30 mil, either of those for 30 mil or even Archie Gray, you're not going to pay 40 mil for a Couto at Man City who plays at right back, can't get a game, and you're not going to pay a ridiculous amount for Jared Branthwaite at Everton. Just not going. We're not going to pay it. We may be linked with them, and we may be interested in them. But who isn't interested in Jared Branthwaite? He's a good player, and he plays on the left. So who wouldn't be interested in him? He's good player. Watched him. He is very good for his age, you know. But I just don't see us paying that sort of money for him. I mean, like,
if he can enhance our squad, we should be paying the money because we've always. Like let ourselves down by not paying the bumper money to get the player, because he is a very, very good defender and he's brilliant at set pieces as well. Like you saw it against us. He was the first one to the ball, banged it in. And he's impressed in a very poor Everton team. Really. They've been struggling all season, but he's been a standout. So I think if we want to be serious, get your Branthwaites because they're like there's not many defenders, English defenders like that. And Gehi would be a good addition as well. But where does he? That's the problem because he's already got his centre halves in Romero, and the left centre back would be Van der Ven, and then he's normally playing Dragusin on the right now. But late on he played him on the right, so I can see that continuing when we of Emerson, but we'll need the backup. Porro's going to be there as well, but I reckon he'll push Porro more forward.
Yeah,
he's more effective.
Yeah, I'm not concerned with the fact that when people say they won't come to the club because they won't want to play behind Romero or they won't want to play behind Van der Ven and things like that, because the amount of games we've got. I mean, like, you've got 38 Premier League games, you've got 8 games guaranteed in Europa League.
Yeah.
Then then you've got 2. Wow. Calafiori, what own goal?
Calafiori seems like he's coming then. Calafiori. You know, not many Italians come to the Premiership.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, a handful here and there. You know, the ones that do come, though, are bloody superb. I like Zola.
Yeah, the difference is he's left-footed, and like Hincapié would be a £60 million player for Leverkusen. They've got Tar and Tapsoba as well, haven't they? So you've got he would do a job. Then you're looking at Calafiori and comparing him with Branthwaite. Branthwaite's going to be 60 mil, and Calafiori is a good player, would probably max 30.
Yeah,
good deals in the Italian league. That's the difference. If you wanted to go young and gamble, thinking that Porro's going to play most games, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love Archie Gray. You know, I'd like. I mean, like, but like, if you want someone a bit more oven ready, Calafiori, like, he's shown to be as good as Dragusin is shown to be for Romania and us. You know, he's just shown.
That's the one that Mr. Kaufman was
3-0
bigging up, and it's 1-0 to
3-0.
It's 1-0 to I looked at. See, this is how useless I am. I only looked at it. It's 1-0 to Turkey against Czech.
Well done.
According to my phone, anyway.
Well, then
the scorer is Callan Oglu, the one who he played for Barcelona, didn't he? Callan Oglu. He's a very big star in Turkey. They love him. He came on O Ses Turquia, so I used to watch that, and they gave him a really good send off. Brilliant. They're passionate, the Turkish fans. They love their football.
Oh,
yeah, they do love their football.
They only get in 30,000 Galatasaray's ground, and they're nutcases. They're absolute nutters, aren't they?
I did have a look who scored for Georgia, but I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name.
Look, I'll have it. Being Greek.
No, I'm not. I'm not even going to attempt that.
As we cover all things Spurs. Oh, is that the winger, Kvaratskhelia?
Chile, and Mikhail Tadzi scored the penalty.
If it's Kvaratskhelia, really, what is he's the winger at Napoli that everyone's raving about, or been raving about last season?
Yeah, Kvaratskhelia.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah,
he scored the first one.
Did I?
Oh, all right.
You did all right.
I'm not saying the second one.
Now that the Eze rumours have gone a little bit cold, we have been linked with Zimanski at Fenerbahce, Polish player, number 10, playmaker. Watch the video of him. I've watched the video for him months and months ago, actually, because we've been linked with him before. He looks a bowler.
Yeah.
It's just, but unless he can look after himself like a Modric, you know, these players that are light, he's about 10 stone, you know what I mean? Like, but he's a good, he's a skillful player and playmaker. He's got a bit more movement, unlike Maddison's movement. He's got a bit more zippy movement like an Ericsson, you know, a bit like that. So, and they only want about 17.5 million for him.
I'm not being funny though, Adrian. Everyone looks good if you watch their YouTube reels. I know when we've signed players and I've sort of, someone's put something in a group and I've watched it and wow, what a player we're getting here.
But what I try to do with videos is, if players are strikers and midfielders, what I look for is players who move the ball quickly with vision, who can make things happen, right? When it's defenders, I'm looking at their positional awareness, intelligence off the ball, tackling, heading, obviously, the obvious stuff, but like, what's your awareness like? Can you spot danger? Do you close down a space quick like Romero does? Because I think Romero is absolutely brilliant, right? But and I'm looking for other things in his videos, like, you know, this is why with the likes of Jonathan David, my reservations about him when I watched him, if he hasn't upped his game, when I've watched him before, and I did get another video of him today to look at, which I haven't looked at, he just looked like a tap-in merchant to me. I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, if he scored 25 tap-ins for Spurs, I'd love it. But he doesn't make things happen like a Sonny does, you know?
Yeah.
Like when Sonny had run on his own and he scored against Arsenal during COVID and bent the ball around, or like when he scored it outside the box, or like when he done David Luiz at Wembley on the halfway line. He was on the right then, Sonny, come all the way down the right, cut in, beat 2 Chelsea players. He made that goal. You know, when he makes them, when he scored against Burnley from our penalty area and broke forward, you know, players like
Jan Vertonghen still claims the assist for that.
yeah, he probably was. Yeah,
he passed it to him and he ran. He passed it about 3 yards to him and he ran the rest of the pitch and scored.
Have you seen Zemanski? You know, you're not seeing him. No.
Have I seen who?
Zemanski, obviously not, right?
No.
I've watched him when we first got linked, and I liked what I saw. But he's got to prove it in the Premiership, hasn't he?
I'm not having this.
Polish people are hard working. We know this. Yeah. They'll always give their all.
Soren said even he looks good on YouTube. Yeah.
I'll be honest, all this transfer stuff, most of it you see, especially on YouTube, it's just clickbait nonsense. It's just put on there. Don't forget to hit the likes and clicks and whatever else they do.
Yeah.
I do not believe any transfers until they hold the shirt up. Until they're at the ground.
What I wait for is two things. Two things I wait for, and you know that deals are actually in progress, which we haven't seen a lot of. We heard it actually about Eze earlier because it said Johan Lang was talking to Palace. Now, if that's true, he's talking to Palace, then the players ought to have been spoken to. Now, he's also in the CAA base agency with Poch is in that agency, Porro's in that agency. There's other players in that agency. Although I think agents and agencies are parasites, agencies to me are better because you don't get them, because they're dealing with you and dealing with lots of players all the time. You don't get a spokesman for the agent mouthing off like Dragason's agent when they've got a sole agent. You know what I mean? They're always mouthing off, trying to create an auction or cause trouble and shit like that. You know what I mean? So with agencies, you've got more chance of keeping the deal quiet until things really gather ahead of steam. And so you've got. So I haven't written off the Eze deal yet, not yet. We spoke to the other thing is like once you know and it's said that terms have been agreed with a player, and you'll use third parties for that, so you're not accused of tapping up. So you get third party agreement with the player. Yeah, he likes the offer of the contract. He's happy with the wages. Blah blah blah. Then you can move on and ask the club now if the club are going to sell him. And then so there's two things I look for. I don't wait until I'm holding the shirt. I get that. I get that angle from frustrated Spurs fans with all these rumours, which are not going to go away. You know, you've got this transfer window doesn't shut till 2 weeks in the season, till the end of July, and we're not out of June yet. So you've got all of July and all of August to go. That's 62 days plus the rest of this month. What's the date today?
So we've probably got what 10 weeks, 11 weeks,
67 days to go. Almost like it's 9.5 weeks. 9.5 weeks of the window.
10 weeks, isn't it, nearly?
But having said that, I mean that I don't mean to say like, we got a chance to get him in on the last days. Obviously, Angie's going to want players in for the pre-season, and our first pre-season game is the 17th of July. So, and then we got 6 friendlies. So, so he's going to want them in. He'd want. I think he'd want 2 or 3 in by the 17th of July.
I don't think because the first 2 is what Hearts and QPR.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, to be honest, because
they're not going to test us.
because you know that they're right after the Euros finishes and they're probably before the Copa America finishes. I think it's going to be basically the under 21s and that playing them anyway.
Yeah.
It's only going to be when they go to Korea, wherever they go in Japan, that the actual main squad turns up.
Yeah, we play this in Japan. I mean, that's a bit late. And then we got team in the national stadium. And then we play Team K in Seoul, and then we play Bayern Munich in Seoul. and then we fly home, and then we play Bayern Munich in the Spurs stadium a week before the season starts. 1 week before the season starts. So as long as Angie's happy with these arrangements, I mean, 6 games in a way.
Yeah. Come back, we might bump into each other again.
I always bump into you, Ellie. You know that.
I'm not going to that game. I'm not going to a game which has got no meaning to me, you know. So not now. I've done all that.
Come on, Adrian.
Look, I did the bit, the rugby, the American football, the bits like that. I've been to. I'm not doing.
Have you been to all of that? Have you been to like the NFL and?
Yeah, I went to the NFL, went to the rugby at one game there. The NFL.
What about the Pink concert? That was the other day, wasn't it?
I haven't been to boxing or concerts. You know.
My daughters went to the Beyonce concert, all 3 of them. They loved it. They went into the Tunnel Club. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I had people that I know that live around here that went to the Pink concert. Yeah. All of a sudden, I just saw photos on Facebook, and I was like, I recognise that place.
Mind you, they even had Guns N' Roses there, didn't they, at one time? Which I might have been tempted to go and watch guys playing electric shovels on the stage, you know what I mean? Like,
my husband's hoping Uriah Heep play there one day.
Oh, I like Uriah Heep. I likeUriah Heep as well.
Yeah, we go a lot.
Tell him I had their albums, Demons and Wizards, and Uriah Heep live, like them.
Yeah.
I would have quite happily gone and seen Pink. I don't mind Pink.
She's a good singer.
Yeah, very good. She's done some good songs.
Uriah Heep, Mick Box, he's a Spurs fan. Big Spurs fan. He loves them. Right. He lives that way. He lives up. I think he lives on the borders of Hadley Wood, because obviously he's got a bit of money, you know. But he's always in and around Palmer's Green, because he loves the working classes, you know. Like he comes down a bit. Yeah, he's very real. He's a lovely bloke, and the lead singer's fantastic as well.
Yeah. It used to be David Byron. I don't know who it is
Bernie
now.
Shaw.
All right.
Bernie Shaw's. He's a Canadian guy. Bernie Shaw. He's a really good singer. Yeah, I've been to lots of Uriah Heep.
Right. I have a little bit of other news. Getting back on track. We have signed Amanda Nilden, made her loan permanent for Spurs ladies. We will be covering Spurs ladies and the academy all next season as well, right? For those
I watched that when it's on BBC Two.
Right. Also, we beat a load of people to a load of clubs that are interested in George Feeney, the young Irish striker. Right. Nice. His dad played actually. His dad played, so he will go into the under-18s. He's one of these another supposed to be very exciting prospects. We will see in the years to come. Right, so that's that. Obviously, there was now there was another bit of news that we've got on our new coaches, because Matty Wells has been promoted to head coach now. Yeah. Now he did work with Scotty Parker at Fulham, Bournemouth, and Club Brugge, and Matty Wells is an ex-Spurs player anyway, right? He's ex-Spurs. But 2 more appointments were made. They were like Montgomery and Raimondo. Those 2 have worked together. And there was a lot of negative comments on them in social media about Spurs fans who probably don't know who these guys are. But Montgomery, his record is pretty good. He was manager of Hibs and the Scottish under-21s. He won the title with Central Coast Mariners when he was manager there. He's supposed to be very good on tactics. Does a lot of video analysis with the players on tactics. Players apparently love training to him. His attention to detail is supposed to be excellent.
That's good.
So we needed a boost in it, and he's got, and his sidekick is Raimondo, who's been with him before, Sergio Raimondo. So it's Nick Montgomery, Scott, and I think it's Yorkshireman. Yeah. So they have come into the club. So there's been a lot of structural changes since Dean Rastrick left the academy, all for the better in my opinion. And when you consider before last season the under-21s were nearly relegated, and then this season they sweep everything. You know what I mean? So they win the league and the playoff trophy as well. And, we had George Abbott and Tyrus Hall promoted to the under-21s, and another 18-year-old. 3 of those are 18. They're so young, these players.
Yeah, you like Tyrus Hall, didn't you, Adrian?
Yeah.
I like him.
Santiago as well.
A bit Dembele-ish, isn't he?
Yeah.
Very strong.
I like Santiago, but there's so many since Lancashire got 23 goals in 22 games. I think since that Bell is going to get a loan. He wants a loan. He wants to go and play. Needs to test himself. Yeah, so...
Yeah, because we got him from Chelsea, didn't we?
Yeah, we got him from Chelsea. Well, Lancashire was at Arsenal, wasn't he? And then he goes to Sheffield, and then we paid 2 or 3 million for him as a 17-year-old, when he was 17, and brought him to Spurs. Now a lot of youngsters are attracted to Spurs because of the success Wayne Burnett's had, with the under-18s. I can't remember who the manager is of the under-18s and 17s. Can't remember who that is offhand.
Jermaine Defoe's one of the coaches, isn't he, of the under-18s, I believe. Is that right? Jermaine Defoe.
I'm not sure.
I think he might be. Yeah, because he done his
He's definitely one of the.
Yeah.
If not, he's definitely an ambassador. I think he was getting involved in coaching and all that, wasn't he? Yeah, so.
Yeah. Because he's sure Jermaine Defoe's judo, isn't he? That's what 3 times he came back to Spurs.
Yeah. So the team, they wouldn't have just brought these coaches in nilly-willy, they would have been researched, and Ange might know Montgomery from as he was with Hibs, he might know him. So
he's the under-18s coach at Premier Club Tottenham Hotspur, Jermaine Defoe.
There's someone else who does the coaching there, because the under-17s as well. So they won't just have one coach.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they'll have quite a few coaches taking the team. Those youngsters are fabulous, though. We've got some really good youngsters coming through already, and they've joined the first team. Even Mikey Moore, and he's only 16, isn't he? He's like an exceptional
I'd like
talent.
to see all of them get a chance. Honestly, I'd like to see all of them get a chance.
Yeah.
Well, in the future, we know that 4 will always be given a chance, because if you're in Europe, because you have to have 4 academy trained players for Europe, and that has to be 4 players that have been at the club for 3 years before their 21st birthday. So we've got to have 4. Yeah. So at the moment you've got Parrott, Skip, Brandon Austin goalkeeper, Alfie Whiteman goalkeeper. Now we know that Noel John was 21 in March, and he's been at the club since about 10 years of age. So he'd be the 5th. So you could sell a Skip or a Parrot if you wanted to. I know some fans would like the both of them. Fair enough. They can get a game. They can get a game out, Adrian.
Skip
needs to move for his career, doesn't he?
He's going to be a bench player for the rest of his career, otherwise.
I feel sorry for him.
Skip does. I want to see him in these 6 friendlies we've got. I want to see these youngsters being given game time. I want to see a bit more of Parrott, Villiers as well.
Yeah,
we brought him in. But Donnelly, even Mikey Moore, but he's not.
Has Villiers gotten over his? He got a nasty injury, didn't he?
No, not that I know. He went out to Sevilla and he wasn't given any game time, was he?
No, who was the one that scored against Brighton when we were losing 4-0?
It was Villiers.
Yeah, Villiers. He picked up a bad injury, didn't he?
Yeah, Villiers came on.
He picked up an injury at a home game when he came on for us, and he kept wanting to carry the game. I didn't see him get injury against Brighton. I know what you mean, though, Mark. I think you mean that home game. It doesn't matter.
Am I mixing it up with something?
Yeah.
Because he scored, didn't he? He scored when we were 4-0 or 4-1 down.
Yeah, he did.
But he got a fairly nasty injury after that, didn't he?
Yeah, because when he was at White Lane, they were telling him to fall down, didn't they? And he was trying to carry
the it's the games
fall down. Postecoglou doing his nut on the bench.
Yeah.
Fall down.
And I thought he was out for a long time, but obviously he's got over that and come back.
Yeah, he was out for a few 3 weeks, and then we put him on loan. He went on loan, and then we never.
That's why I haven't seen him then.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be back to Tuesday and Friday shows next week. The reason we've got one tonight is because the England game was yesterday, and the reason for those
we just would have done the show yesterday, to be honest, rather than watch that rubbish.
The reason we will be doing Tuesdays and Fridays will be our main shows is because when the league starts, this is for you lot on playback. The reason we'll be doing Tuesdays and Fridays because we won't be playing Tuesdays. We're not in the Champions League, and we'll be playing. And in Europe, we'll be playing Thursdays and Sundays. So Friday's a good time for us to have a show. It's a good gap to fill. Obviously, with Chang, one of the fellow admins, we will obviously be doing a Saturday or a Sunday show. Maybe they might be a bit impromptu post-match games or something or whatever, whether we're playing on a Saturday or Sunday. What you guys in the chat need to realise is that 8 of our fixture dates will be altered because when the Premier League fixtures come out, that's before we're given the Europa League fixtures. Or any of those 8 fixtures on a Saturday are going to be moved to a Sunday.
That's definite, isn't it? That's definite.
And if they're on a Wednesday, they'll be moved because we're probably playing a Europa League game on a Thursday.
Yeah.
So it's good advice simply because if any of you traveling to games, you need to know when these games are going to be changed because the powers that be, the TV companies, don't give a crap about fans changing games and moving fixtures.
No.
They don't, right? And it costs fans a fortune, to go to some games. So
I'll tell you what really gets me. Now, it don't affect me because I don't go to away games, but when they have, say, Newcastle away, and it's like on a Monday night, 8 o'clock kickoff, and there's no trains to get people back to London.
Yeah.
And so
today's age as well,
and so the people that go, they've got no choice but to either
they have to stay up there.
Well, they got to stay up there or bomb about in the train station all night,
Yeah,
for the first one home in the morning. I mean, why can't? Because there's been several instances, not just Tottenham, other teams when they've been, say, a London team has been away in, say, Manchester or Newcastle or somewhere up north, and they can't get back because there's no trains. I mean, what sort of nonsense is that? It just goes to show that the powers that be, all they think about is the money.
The old I don't know if either of you remember it, the old supporters club, when I used to be a member, used to be run from Warmington House at the front of the ground. And even if we were going across to Crystal Palace or places like that, we'd get coach trips to those grounds, right? And we'd go. And I'm not sure if they will run in conjunction with the club or not. I don't recall going back then. But, you'd think a good club would put coaches on for fans to go to away games and stuff like that, for what it costs in petrol and stuff like that to go from here to Newcastle, and back,
Well, I know that my local team, they run supporters coaches. It's a bit different from Tottenham because, it's a lot bigger.
I don't know if they do now. I don't know what happens at Spurs now.
Oh, all right.
Well, they probably, I don't think they do. I don't think the club would be interested in gaining Browning points. They're too busy looking for the next PR blunder, So
and the next penny.
Exactly that. Well, talk about the next penny. The shirt prices now.
Oh, it's a joke.
I told in my group, someone had a dig. Adrian, it's not the club that fixes the prices. It's Nike because the contract's with Nike. Okay, fine. And I just posted back. All right. I said, I'm not sure who fixes the prices, but what I do know is in the last year's financial report, Spurs made 228 million out of merchandise and sponsorship deals. Now, there probably more was out of the sponsorship deals out of that, but I don't buy the football shirts. I don't buy them. But I can't remember the last time I bought a Spurs football shirt. I would have been in my teens, I would have thought. Maybe.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this. I do, but not from the shop.
No, it's too expensive at the shop.
£85 for a shirt.
85,
125 if you want the player worn one.
Yeah, if you want to put the number and the player on.
So what they're saying is shit. It's a bit like advertising when they used to say washing. I don't even remember washing. New improved aerial washing powder, right? So what they're actually telling you is what they sold you before was crap, right? Because this is
right? It's rubbish.
So
The thing I've never understood is now back when I'd buy shirts from JJB or you know, and you could get the Tottenham shirt in your local JJB or something.
Yeah.
It was just the one you could get. Now you can get the stadium shirt, and you can get the player worn one.
Yeah,
you can get the player shirt, whatever that.
Yeah.
And one of them, a Tottenham shirt for one of them, £125.
Yeah.
And then if you want, and then it's, I think it's, is it £5 a number or £8 a number?
I don't know.
And it's about £2 a letter.
Yeah, I think it's £3 a letter.
So you're looking at like
it's £3 a letter, is it?
Home strip, away strip, probably third strip, or and maybe even a European strip, 4 possibly, and then like back in the day they changed the strip about once every 3 years. Now they virtually changing one strip. You know, they're changing them strips virtually every year.
Every 2 years it used to be with Tottenham shirts. Every 2 years a new shirt would come out, but now there's 3 shirts every year.
In the game, isn't it? It's too much greed, money grabbers.
Well, they'll get it why people are willing to pay for it, but eventually I think you reach a tipping point. You can only squeeze so much juice out of the lemon, like, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I stopped when they took the concessions away. It's not that I can afford it, right? But like 50 quid. All right, 50 quid. It don't really affect me that much as it would another person, right? But I mean, even though I'm retired, you know, just if I stop paying 20 or 30 quid at the stadium on pies and drink, and I leave my house late now, unless I'm meeting people. If I meet people and they're guests or whatever, obviously I'm going to buy them a drink, preferably outside the ground rather than in the Gilpin, like where I go. But if I'm meeting someone, but inside the ground, I don't buy anything. Now. I get there early. There's a free water tap on the 5th floor because I'm up on the east stand, right next to the south stand, right? So, but there was a tap
near you then, because I went to one game and I was in the 1882 club, and that was East Stand Upper, and that was right towards the South Stand.
I know that there's an 1882 club at either end of the South Stand, I think, but I didn't know there was one in the East.
Well, I went in the East Stand entrance, and we were East Stand Upper, and there was an 1882 bar right, because them stairs.
Maybe there is.
Because them stairs nearly killed me walking all up there.
Yeah, I got the lift. I always get a lift.
I asked to go in the lift, and they wouldn't let me in there.
Yeah.
See, that number 7 is that Kvaratskhelia.
Yeah. He's the winger at Napoli.
There he is.
He's a very good player, but
he's 23, born in Tbilisi in Georgia. He's playing for Napoli. He scored 23 in 68. And before that, he was at Dynamo Batumi.
Great strike rate for a winger, 23.
Ruben Kazan, I've heard of, because they've been in the Europa League and the conference. Lokomotiv Moscow on loan before that. And he started his good career at Dynamo Tbilisi. But he only played 4 times for them. So then he moved on to Rustavi. Now he's at Napoli. He's with Conte.
The thing is, unless you get a freak winger like a Ronaldo or a Gareth Bale, you know, someone like that. Messi was a bit midfield, and he was sort of a bit more. He was different, and unless you get a freak like them, you find with a lot of wingers, it's either their time to be in the game or it's not, or it's all the football's all played on the other side of the pitch or whatever, you know. And with wingers, there's always the thing about consistency with them, you know. I mean, if you're playing centre mid, all players want to be centre mid because you get more of the ball, you see more of the ball, you know, and that's where they want to play. But you have to earn that right. You have to earn the trust, don't you?
Well, there's no chance of getting Bell back, but there's absolutely no chance of getting Bell back because he'll be in the Open next month. I think the Open's middle of July. He's more interested in his golf now, isn't he?
Yeah.
He was at the Masters in April.
Although I believe Wrexham wanted him to come back and play for them. You know, the one that's owned by their film stars. Or
yeah, there's 2 of them in it, though.
There's a story going around like that, so whether he'd be tempted by that or not, I don't know. Right, guys, we've gone a little bit off subject at times, but it's been good fun. I think we'll end the show because we will do the show on Friday, and I mean, I hope there's been lot more news out there for us to talk about this Friday. We will do it anyway. We'll come on. If it's not much on, it'll probably only be an hour show or something short. But I'll try and do a run sheet for us to follow. That will give us an hour. I like to do a show for an hour minimum. Mark, thanks for coming on.
1 hour 45.
No worries. No worries. I'm always pleased to help come on.
Yeah,
Ellie,
Mark,
thanks again for doing the slides as well. For doing the slides as well.
Hat on. You know, I'm famous for my hats.
Yeah.
It's a shame Jazz Fusion weren't in the chat because he likes my hats.
Yeah, I apologise about my computer at the beginning. It's been obeying my commands recently, but it's decided to have a little. It's decided to have a little thing at me.
You've got like a yellow aura, a yellow ginger aura around you.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. It's
like,
over that.
You're turning into Kulusevski. That's what's happening.
It's over that, and my liver's packing up.
And for those of you on playback, if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel and please smash the like button.
Smash the like. Tell your mates as well. Tell your mates about us.
With Spurs fans celebrating the Liverpool win when Matip put the own goal in, and I'll meet you guys in the back room. Yeah.